Howdy, who all my stock market gamblers? Welcome today. I'm Tall Mike. I'm so glad you're here. What do we got going on in the stock market? Well, we're kind of having a down day. Dow down about 1,000, NASDAQ down about 500. Now, we had the sell-off last week also, right? We were coming down, and then we wake up today down 1,000 points. Now, to me, this is still just a correction. I don't think it's the big crash. Could it be? Sure, but I don't think so. Now, here's why. They're still buying the debt, right? They're still pumping up the debt. Everybody's going in, they're buying the bonds. Okay, now that's a flight to safety. So some of that's regular buying, but they also have the Fed in there buying to hold up the market, to prop up the market. So interest rates are coming down. Even though the Fed didn't lower the last report, the Fed came out, they did not lower, they kept them the same. A lot of people think they're going to have an emergency meeting before September to lower the rates, and they think they're not going to lower them by a quarter point, they're going to lower them by a half a point. And that's a possibility, I suppose, if the market keeps dropping, but I actually think the market's going to bounce from here. It's not going to go straight down. Now, do I think the correction's over? No, it still has more to play out, but we are oversold now. We will probably get a bounce up before we head lower. That's just my take. We could keep going straight down, but nothing goes straight down. Nothing goes straight up. So expect a bounce later in the week. Maybe it starts today. You come down 1,000 points on the Dow. Maybe they'll start to get the bounce today. But the bounce is coming. So don't just think that's going to go straight down. Okay, so are we in a bubble? Are we in a bubble? Well, that's the question I get from a lot of people. Is the stock market a bubble? Well, a lot of air's coming out of the bubble today. The moon boys are kind of sad today, but are we in a bubble? Now, Warren Buffett, he'll tell you we're in a bubble. He's sitting on $200 billion in cash, right? He just dumped a bunch of Bank of America stock. Why is he dumping the banks? Because he sees the writing on the wall. The banks are in trouble. Everybody knows the banks are in trouble. They know they're in trouble, so Warren's getting out of them, raising cash. But his market value to the GDP is 200% right now, right? So normal is 100%, so he thinks the market is 50% too high. So he thinks it will drop by 50%. Now, when we have the big crash, it's going to come down 80% at least, right? That's my take. Maybe the moon boys, they think it's all going to double from here. And don't get me wrong, we're still in a topping pattern. Even though we're down 10, 15% now, coming down on the NASDAQ, well, NASDAQ's probably made a high, but they're going to push it back up and try to get a newer high, but they can't do it now. The high is in for the NASDAQ. Now, can they do it on the Dow? Maybe. Now, here's an interesting thing on the Dow. Look at 20 years ago, I started buying gold, right? It's about $340 an ounce is what I was paying 20 years ago. Now, what was the Dow trading back then? It was trading 8,500. Okay, so I was paying $340 for gold 20 years ago, and the Dow was 8,500. Okay, so how many ounces of gold did it take me to get one of the Dow? Well, it took 25 ounces approximately of gold to get one of the Dow Jones Industrial. So 340 times 25 got you that 8,500 number. Okay, so where are we at today? I'm going to use rough numbers. I know the Dow's down a little today, but that's called 40,000. 40,000 on the Dow, and gold, it's down a little today too, down about $40 today, but let's call it 2,400. So 40,000, 2,400. So how many ounces does it take today to buy one of the Dow? Well, about 17 ounces. So 20 years ago, it took 25 ounces. Today, it takes 17 ounces. So in real terms, the Dow has actually come down by about 32% in the last 20 years compared to gold. Gold is real money. I call it real terms. But the Dow has actually dropped by 32% compared to gold. So is it in a bubble? Well, it could be argued that it is in a bubble, but against real money, it's actually dropped 32%. They don't like to tell you that because gold is not profitable for all the hedge fund guys that sell you stuff. They can't take the money. They can't fleece you. Gold is real money. You hold it. They don't hold it. So they can't charge you all the fees. So they don't talk about gold. Gold is outperforming the Dow for the last 20 years by 32%. Gold is outperforming Bitcoin for the last 3 years by 40%. A lot of people don't look at gold. Gold is still a value here, even at 2,400. Now, don't get me wrong. As the market comes down, they're going to sell off their gold. Now, why does gold sell off? Well, it sells off because they have to raise money, right? They have to raise money, and it's the only thing catching a bid. Their stocks are coming down too low, right? So they don't want to sell those. So they throw the gold in because they're getting a bid. And that's why gold will actually come down a little bit with the market. But I think that's a buying opportunity here. All right, let's get over to the real estate market. We got some fascinating things happening. Right now, real estate's going to become a train wreck this month, right? August 17th, that's the big day, the big day. What am I talking about? I'm talking about the National Association of Realtors made the settlement for the government, right? And they say, well, we can't advertise that we're going to give the buyer agent any commission anymore. So all the MLSs have taken that off. I cannot say that my seller wants to pay the buyer's agent commission. So the buyer now either has to be unrepresented or he has to pay the agent himself. Now, a lot of buyers are going to go in unrepresented at the beginning, but this is going to be a train wreck. Yeah, I mean, you're seeing a train wreck in the stock market today, even though I think that's going to bounce. But when you see this train wreck in the housing market, I don't think it's going to bounce that much. Okay, so what we got happening on August 17th? I'd say I get a listing, right? I'm a real estate broker. I take the listing and the buyer, I want buyers, right? And my seller, he's motivated. He's willing to pay that agent. He's willing to get out of this property. He's motivated. He's got to sell. He lost his job now. A lot of job losses are coming. There's going to be massive layoffs. But I cannot get that property sold now. You're going to see properties staying on the market for a longer period of time. The days on market, as it's known as, is going to continue outward, right? Right now in my area, I could still sell a house in about a week. But as of August 17th, that's going to double. It's going to triple. It's going to take a month, maybe 3 months, maybe 6 months. It might turn into taking years. You see, the agents are no longer bringing the buyers. The buyers have to raise their hand themselves. And where'd the buyers go? Well, the buyers went away, right? And they don't have the help of an agent anymore. You see, I don't even want to work with a buyer at this point. The reason being, I have to get him to sign like 6 different forms. 6 different forms. And he's got to sign his life away just before I can show him a property. I mean, this is going to be a train wreck. I know how agents are. I mean, a lot of agents are already fleeing the business. You can see the National Association of Realtors. Their membership is dropping like a rock, right? Because every agent's getting out of the business, which I think is crazy. The agents are getting out of the business because they don't know how to get listings. But right now, to be honest with you, when I started in real estate, I think it was a terrible time to start in real estate. I didn't make any money for a number of years. I mean, I could have done better minimum wage at a McDonald's job than I was making on real estate when I started out. But right now, I think it's a great time to be a realtor. I'd go out and get my license if I didn't have one. I mean, this is fabulous. The agents are going away and the houses aren't selling. So if you can know how to sell a house, well, you're going to get the business, right? So here's the thing. Here's what's really going to profit in this. Okay, a lot of the people that come in, they're called wholesalers, right? Okay, so they're the ones that come in and offer you. Billy Bob sold up here, right? But the wholesaler, he sees your house sitting on the market for 3-6 months, right? Okay, so now your listing expires. So, I mean, you don't have the agent anymore. He signed you up for 6 months. He couldn't get it sold. So what this guy come in, the wholesaler comes and go, hey, your agent couldn't get it sold for you. You want me to buy it? I'll buy it from you today. Well, yeah, I want to sell. Okay, well, Billy Bob got out up here. I'm going to offer you 40% down here. 40% below what, but I want what Billy Bob got. Well, try your agent again, because it can sit there another 6 months, another year. The agent can't get it sold. So eventually they take the wholesaler price 30 to 40% below what Billy Bob got, 30 to 40% below the market. Now, what does the wholesaler do? Well, he doesn't even have to have any money, right? He just gets you to sign the contract, right? He gets you to sign the listing contract. He's got a week. He goes and gets the cash buyer because he's got a pool of cash buyers. Now, I can teach you where to get the cash buyers. I've got a lot of cash buyers. If I didn't have them, you see, when I say I have a lot of cash buyers, I have a lot of cash buyers that are willing to pay 30 to 40% below market for your house. They come in with the cash. They don't want the house, so they give it to me, and then we try to get a little bit of profit when I sell. So as an agent, I can tie that up, sell it to the cash buyer, make a profit there, and then the cash buyer gives it to me again. I can make another profit there. So it's really a great time to be an agent. This is just my opinion. A lot of agents are getting out of the business they're running, and of course everybody says, but Mike, AI is going to take over the real estate agent's job. And I hope you're right. I don't want to sell houses anymore. I'm retired pretty much. But look, they told me for years that it's going to be replaced by an app on your phone, right? You're just going to punch in numbers. Look, real estate's a lot more complicated than people think. You got to hold the deal together. Those deals never stay together. That's why the app hasn't taken over the real estate agent's job. You need two real estate agents in the deal. One agent is not going to hold the deal together, and that's what people don't get. Right now, you got one agent, you got the seller getting the agent, right? But we don't have the buyer agent as of August 17th, and that's where the train wreck comes in. That's where the train wreck in real estate comes in. Now, look at the stock market's having its train wreck today, right? This is not the big one, though. This is not the big one. Look, this is going to bounce back up. This is just a temporary little downdraft, and they're going to get a little bounce going later in this week would be my guess, and they're going to try to push the market back up, right? So actually, as weird as it is, I'm Mr. Negative usually, but I think it's a little bit of a buying opportunity temporarily in the market here. Now, a lot of people would say you're trying to catch the falling knife, but I actually think we're going to get a little bit of a bounce, and you can make a little profit before you head down lower. But maybe we just keep going, you just don't know. But I just think the plunge protection team's going to come in. I think the Fed's going to keep buying the debt, and that's not a fair market. It's a rigged market, and that's why I do think we're going to get a bounce higher, but eventually they're going to lose control of it, and the market's going to go straight down. It's going to be real ugly. I'm telling you, 80%, then 60, 80%, nobody knows exactly where it will settle out. This is just a little correction, 10, 20% down, and then they're going to bounce it back up, right? Okay, but the real estate I think is peaking out right here. August 17th, you can mark the high for real estate. I mean, we're going to come down, and I don't think that's going to bounce back anytime soon. That's just my take. You don't have agents helping the buyers. There's no one bringing the buyers in to buy the properties, and that's going to be a big problem for a lot of people. The sellers are going to start to get desperate. What do they do when they get desperate? They reduce the price, reduce the price, reduce the price. Inventory is already creeping up. Days on market's already extending longer. Prices are already being reduced. There's 30 to 40% of the listings right now have price reductions. Price reductions already, and the bad stuff isn't happen. The bad stuff starts August 17th. It's going to be fascinating. Now, granted, the real estate's not like the stock market. Stock market can lose 80% overnight. Real estate takes a little while for those stubborn sellers, the bag holders, as I call them. They want to get what Billy Bob got. They're holding on to that bag as tight as they can. They don't want to sell. They don't want to lose all their equity. Their equity is going to be wiped out. I'm telling you, if you got a chance, I'd get out, but that's just my take. You got to do you. You listen to Dave Ramsey. Ramsey says we're going to double and triple from here. Never been a better time to buy a house. I just don't agree with them. Look, we got the train wreck coming. The train wreck is happening in the stock market today, although I do think we're going to bounce up from here. Maybe we get another down day. I'm not sure, but by the end of the week, you might even have an up week. It's kind of a weird thing, the stock market, because they're in there buying that debt. However, the HYG, the junk debt finally came down today, and you see, so you're getting some credit spreads, because right now the Fed's just buying the bonds, right? They're not buying the junk today because even the Fed's afraid, it's going to come down, right? So, okay, that junk is starting, so the credit spreads are starting to blow out, and that's what's sending up the VIX. VIX is going up, but by the end of the day, this could all turn around. You just don't know, right? But it's getting oversold. I mean, I think we're due for a little bounce before we head lower. It's not over yet. There's going to be a lot of volatility. I mean, this thing's going to move 1,000 points a day now. It's very fascinating. Stock market fascinating. Real estate market fascinating. August 17th. Oh, it's going to be a fun time. A lot of people are going to be upset. A lot of people aren't going to like what's happening. And I get that. The moon boys, they want things to go up. That poor Bitcoin, I mean, what did it come down? Hit 50,000, but it's bouncing now. Maybe it gets back up to 60,000 before it heads lower. We'll see how that all plays out. I'm Tall Mike. You like this stuff? Give me the thumbs up. Why not? Punch that subscribe button. Get out there. to everybody. Have a great day, and we'll talk again later in the week. Bye-bye now.